What's up, guys? It's Christian here, and today I'm here to talk to you guys about 7 things that you need in order to level up in 2024. Now, when I say 7 things, what do I mean? Because anything can be a thing. I'm looking at stuff in my room, and I can tell you that a suitcase can be a thing. An oscillating fan can be a thing. A TV can be a thing. A wall can be a thing. A lamp can be a thing. So, what do I mean when I say 7 things? I mean specifically character traits. Hamza said in a video that your character will determine your income. And similarly, I believe that your character determines your success in general. And so that is what you need to build in order to, and it will reflect in your life. So we will go ahead and get started with number 1, which is discipline. Discipline is much more important than motivation because motivation comes and goes. One day you are excited to get after your goals and do what needs to be done, and another day you can't be bothered to do it. And it is discipline, forcing yourself to do what needs to be done even though you don't feel like it, that will push you towards success. That is how you succeed. The most successful people are the most disciplined people, all right? And so that is essentially what you need to build discipline, is that you choose delayed gratification. You choose what will serve future you over what will please current you. You choose what will serve current you. You choose what will serve future you rather than choosing what will please current you. And I'll be honest with you guys about something. I am as disciplined as I am because I am afraid of what will happen to me if I'm not disciplined. And there's a Bible verse that really enforced this mindset in me, and it is Proverbs chapter 24, verses 33 through 34. And it reads, "A little extra sleep, a little more slumber, a little folding of the hands to rest, then poverty will pounce on you like a bandit. Scarcity will attack you like an armed robber." And that's life. If, you have a life is this series of decisions of delayed gratification versus instant gratification. And the more you choose instant gratification over delayed gratification, you keep choosing, there's some animation about this that gained millions and millions of views on YouTube, where on one side there's this guy that chose all the instant gratification things, another guy that chose all the delayed gratification things, and they all achieve drastically different results. And it's an animation, but it depicts real life. If I choose, let's say I choose to skip the gym one day, then the next time it's time to go to the gym, it's easier for me to skip the gym again. And it requires discipline to police that and not let it get to a point where my body isn't where I want it to be. And yeah, that is it. Is that me? I am afraid of what will happen if I'm not disciplined, and that pushes me to be disciplined. It's like something I heard in a podcast. It was Chris Williamson's podcast, Minute Wisdom, and his guest was Alex Ramosi. And they were talking about how many successful people, most of the time, what gets them to do the work that needs to be done, even though they don't feel like it, isn't, oh my gosh, if I do the hard work, I'm going to achieve this amazing result. I'm going to achieve a lot of money. I could get a yacht. I could do this, do that. It's actually, if I don't do what needs to be done, I'm a bum. and I have to live with being a bum, and I don't want to live with myself if I'm a bum. I know that sounds silly with the words that I'm using, but it's true. Sometimes you need to picture, like, really well who you might be if you aren't disciplined in order for you to be disciplined. And that's okay, because I do it too. All right, and with that, we move on to the next point, which is number 2, confidence. Let me get a sip of water first. All right. So when I say confidence, I mean borderline arrogance. And Dre Baldwin, a guy that I really love for personal development, he made a video that was called How to Be So Confident That They Call You Cocky and Arrogant. And I'm not even exaggerating, it was a life-changing video. And what he said in that video, the main idea of it was, you reach the level of success that you believe yourself to be at. If you believe yourself to be worse than you actually are, you will get worse than you actually are. If you believe yourself to be better than you actually are, you will be better than you actually are. So, or if I had to illustrate this with a real world example, if I'm a basketball player who averages 5 points a game and I want to average 10 points a game, or if I want to average 20 points a game, I shouldn't be, like, if I'm a basketball player who averages 5 points per game and I believe myself to be a basketball player that averages 5 points a game, I'm just going to average 5 points per game. It's not until I believe myself to be a 20 point per game scorer and I put in the work that's necessary for me to become a 20 point per game scorer that I do become a 20 point per game scorer. And that's the thing. You have to be so convicted in this belief. And I wrote in here that you actually have to force yourself to think higher thoughts of yourself, because you have to counteract your brain's negativity bias. Like, for example, if on a given day you were, 2 different people told you 2 different things. One person told you you are beautiful, and the other person told you you're an idiot. Just because of how our brains work, I don't like the way that I don't like this, but it's just the way it is. I am more likely to, and you probably as well, are more likely to remember being told you're an idiot. And so it takes, like, conscious, forceful thoughts of, I am the person who I want to be. And even though you're not that person yet, you believe yourself to be that person, and you consciously and forcefully put that belief into your brain, because that's what you have to do to counteract your brain's natural negativity bias. So that is the kind of confidence and belief that you have to have for yourself in 2024 in order to level up. Number 3, responsibility. And by responsibility, I mean specifically, you have to admit that you are where you are in life because of you. And once you, and it's frustrating to sit there and be like, man, I'm here where I am, and I don't want to be here, and it's my fault. It's frustrating to admit that. But after that then you realize, oh my gosh, I'm here because of me. I had the power to mess my situation up and put myself in an undesirable situation. I had the power to put myself in an undesirable situation. So I have the power to put myself in a desirable situation. And so I'm going to use that power to put myself in that desirable situation. That is when you start taking the leaps and bounds that are necessary for success, is when you admit that everything is your fault. And that empowers you in order to take the action necessary to get to where you want to be. That's it. Is admitting that you are where you are because of you, and then using that power to go to where you want to be. And I'll what I also wrote in here, it is from Spider-Man, and it says, "With great power comes great responsibility." It I know it's from a movie. Fine, you can get on me about that. But here's the thing: it's true. With great power does come great responsibility. You want to take your life to a place that you never imagined. You have to admit that everything is your fault, and then take the actions necessary. Use the fact that it's your fault to your advantage and create the life you want. And same guy I mentioned earlier, Dre Baldwin, said that everybody wants power, but nobody wants responsibility, but they come together. So yeah, if you want power, but you gotta take the responsibility that comes with it, right? A lot of I heard that too somewhere, is that a lot of people actually don't want control of their lives because it's easy to cope and say, yeah, I'm here where I am because of this, but then they suffer the consequence of that, and that is you don't get to control your life. You don't get to take your life to where you want to be because you're where you are, not because of you, right? And so there's a cope and there's a negative consequence with that cope. But then, in the opposite of that, what I want you to adopt in your life is the mindset of I am where I am because of me. Because while that makes you feel bad and sad and painful in the moment of being like, man, I'm here in this position where I don't want to be in because of myself. But that allows you to say, hey, wait a minute, I had the power to put myself in a situation that I didn't want to be in. So I also have the power to take my life to where nobody, not even myself, not even I, couldn't have even imagined to take it. All right? So take responsibility because it will give you the power to transform your life. Number 4, accountability. All right? Here's the thing. Let's say, like if I were to skip the gym, no one else would probably know that I skipped the gym on that day. But I will know, and I have to live with the fact that I could have done what needed to be done for me to be where I want to be, but I didn't do it. And I have to live with the pain and regret of that. All right? It is holding yourself, and I wrote this in my book, holding yourself accountable to the promises you make to yourself and delivering on those promises is how you build confidence. I remember Alex Hormozy saying that, is that success, or no, confidence isn't shouting positive affirmations to yourself in the mirror. It is stacking undeniable proof that you are who you say you are. Every time I take a cold shower when I don't feel like it, I'm stacking undeniable proof that I am who I say I am. Every time I get done the work that I set out to do, or I complete the workout that I set out to complete, that is me stacking undeniable proof that I am who I say I am, right? And that's what Dre Baldwin was talking about in his video about how to be so confident that they call you cocky and arrogant, is that while, like an example of this, while I can believe myself to be a 20 point per game scorer while I'm only scoring 5 points per game, that's not enough. I have to put in the work that proves to myself and everybody else that I am a 20 point per game scorer, right? And it takes accountability of yourself, to yourself, to do that. Number 5, optimism. And by optimism, I specifically mean that you need to remember that times get extremely tough before they become great. Let me get some water. And I have a few examples of this. So, first example I'll mention. There was a period of like 2 weeks last semester that it was absolute hell. I had lots of work from each of my classes, and I just, always felt busy, had to, put a lot of time and effort towards everything I was doing. And then I completed, all on the other side of all of that work was a weekend where I could do no work all weekend and still be fine. I had no pressing assignments that I needed to work on that weekend compared to the rest of the weekends previously. And so that's one example that times get like extremely tough before they get better. Another one that I, didn't write in here, but I thought of as I was preparing for this video is that like y'all watch movies, right? Of course. In movies, it usually is not good unless there's a point in the movie where it seems almost, if not certainly, impossible that the desired outcome will be achieved or accomplished, right? It's the conflict and the challenges in that movie that make it interesting, that make it fun, and that make it enjoyable, right? Next example is, if you're a student, you understand this, is that finals week is always brutal. You have a lot of exams to prepare for, and it's all, and you've got these like pressing thoughts about how are my grades going to be by the end of the semester. It's tough to deal with. I got some calendar notification. I had to get off of there because it was distracting me. Finals week is always tough, but on the other side of that, finals week is probably one of the toughest weeks of the entire semester. But on the other side of that is the greatest reward, is the end of semester, is lots of time off, right? Another example is there is a time in the middle of the summer, last summer, I was doing a plank and I was holding the plank probably for like a minute and 10 seconds, and I quit the plank. I quit. I, dropped down, and then I pushed on my phone. I was 10 seconds away from my timer going off. If I held that plank for 10 more seconds, I would have completed the task, completed the mission that I meant to complete. And here's the funny thing, the interesting thing. The very next day, I was scrolling through Instagram and I saw this reel. It was of Michael B. Jordan. If you don't know who he is, as a famous actor. He was in an interview and talking about how if like you will experience the most pain, the most struggle when you're right there from where you want. And it is so true. It's so true. And I lived it the previous day, experienced it firsthand, and make no mistake, I never quit a plank before the timer went off after that. It's funny how things work, am I right? And last example before I'll move on from this point is there's a show on Netflix. It's called Last Chance U Basketball. It follows the basketball team of East LA College, and there was a player on season 2 named Brian Penn Johnson who was talking about how he was like, yeah, just had a got off the phone with this college and this college, because he was in the point where he was like trying to get to a better college for basketball than where he was at. And so another notification. I'm popping. What can I say? I'm kidding. Anyways, he was like, yeah, I just got off the school with this great school and this great school. And it's amazing because now I'm starting to see the work pay off, because the season's so long, you don't know, you're just, going at it day after day after day, and you're like, and in the middle of it, you're like, oh my gosh, what's the point of this stuff? And it's not until later that you discover what it was all about, that it was worth it. That it's not until later that you find out that the work that you put yourself through day after day after day was worth it. And that's how it is. So you have to have that optimism that eventually, if you keep putting the one foot in front of the other and doing the right things that will lead you in the direction of success, that you will achieve success. Number 6 is presence. All right, so this is what I wrote. This life will fly before your very eyes, so savor every moment. Savor the good, savor the bad. Enjoy every moment, because this life will pass by you fast. And I have to be honest with you guys about something. Like, I said this in a previous video. I'm thirsty, I need water real quick. I said in a previous video, like, I'm 20 years old, and when I turned 19, I was like, wow, I'm another year older and I got my whole life ahead of me. And when I was 20, I was like, man, the clock is ticking. If I now is of course, this was true for me for a long time back, but now it really hit me like, dude, every choice I make from here on matters, because if I make the wrong choices, it will lead my life to somewhere where I don't want to be. So I have to continuously make the right choices and make the choices that will separate myself from my competition, and do the right things that will lead myself to success. And I'm only getting older. In February, I will be 21 years old. And so that's, why it gets to me. Like, oh my gosh, I'm, not, I don't have, quite the grades that I, want to have. Oh my gosh, my YouTube channels aren't where I want them to be at. But it's like, but it's like, I have to, like, and it's like, this is the stuff that's getting to me when I'm having a conversation with, one of my family members, and I've, realized now, like, dude, like, you can't let this stuff, it's like good that it's a kind of a good problem to have. Like, it's good that this kind of consumes you. That's a sign that you have the hunger and desire and the fire that you need to succeed. But at the same time, it can't be in your head when you're interacting with people, when you're in your conversations with your family, right? You have to be present in those moments. If y'all are up on you're up in a mountain, or you're doing something with your family, and you just start thinking about money or grades or whatever, success, then you're not, that moment's gonna pass by you, and you're gonna regret not being present in that moment. And that's what I'm finding out now. And yeah, so make sure that you're present in 2024. Enjoy every single moment. Savor every single moment, because once it's gone, it's gone. It's never coming back. And I'm talking about the good and the bad, because the bad can teach you stuff. All right? And finally, number 7, you need routine. And here's the thing. Making things, and I wrote this in here, making things routine optimizes your brain so that you're not constantly thinking about what to do next, right? That's why, coaches will put in plays so that when in basketball, and like, I'm talking about basketball specifically when I'm thinking about this, like, coaches will run plays so that when, the offense, gets, past half court, it's like not like, all right, what do we do? And that causes guys to take, shots without passing, or one shot, and then once that, or one pass, and then once that guy gets past the ball, then he, shoots. So here's the thing. My morning routine, here's my morning routine. Take what you want from this and implement it for yourself. It was, I wake up, I pray, I read the Bible, I meditate, comes after meditation. I write down 5 things that I'm grateful for. I make my bed. Then I did 100 push-ups or a 2-minute plank. I alternated between the days because I found, right, that if I did, push-ups for consecutive days in a row, I would get excessively sore, as opposed to every other day. Then I would have the actual muscle growth that I desired. And then I would get in a cold shower. And then after that, it was like kind of up in the air. I admit there were times where I wasn't routine and everything that I did after that, but it was just get dressed, warm lunch, make tea, fix breakfast, and by breakfast I mean I would slice slices off of an apple and dip that in peanut butter, and eat breakfast while drinking tea, gather snacks, put lunch in the tin, this tin container that I can put in my backpack so I can have lunch on campus, and then make sure that I have everything I need, and then head to campus. And so that is the routine that I had. It is important, so important. And I'm still working on my routine, and it's okay that many people do that. Many people get themselves in a routine and they find that if they add something or subtract something, that would be better for them. Because in the end, at the end of the day, life is a process. And so I'm still in that process. I thought I figured it out, but I didn't. So what I plan to do for my morning routine, and I will probably make a video about this, implementing what these, talking about what implementing these changes did for me, is I'm gonna remove the 2-minute, the push-ups and the plank, because I want to start studying sooner, right? Like I want to get to the library to study sooner, and so I believe that will do that for me. And that, like, now that I say it, it sounds like cope, but like, I don't know, we'll see how I am with it. Like, I know how I am with it, so how I am without it, that's a real question to see how we'll be. And then but definitely I'm cutting out breakfast because I want to be able to, get to the library fasted, because that's when I'm most focused to do the studying that I need to do. So yeah, that's it. I'll recap y'all real quick before I leave the video, because it was a long video, lots of stuff to talk about. The 7 things I mentioned were discipline, confidence, responsibility, accountability, optimism, presence, and routine. All right, so that's it. Happy New Year. Implement these character traits, and I promise you'll see amazing changes in your life. Love y'all. Take care.